What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Bleeding BnG. Putting a quick disclaimer out there, letting you guys know now if my voice seems a little raspy, if it happens to crack at some point during this episode, I'm just letting you guys know now that you gotta bear with me. Please bear with me because I just witnessed one of the craziest games that I've ever, not one of. I just witnessed the craziest game that I've ever been live in attendance in person seeing. And that's not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. If you just witnessed what I saw, you know. If you know, you know. That was one of the craziest games in NFL history. And I don't think I'm slicing it and saying that. So before we get too deep into this episode, you already know what I'm going to say. Be sure to comment. Be sure to like. Be sure to subscribe. On the road to 2,000 subscribers, and I can't do it without your help. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, flood the comments, and without further ado, man, let's get into this video. To give you a timestamp as I do for all of my episodes, it's about 10:30 on Sunday, October the 27th, 2024. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I just witnessed one of the craziest games in NFL history. Are we giving it a nickname yet? Is it the Maryland Miracle? I like to call it, fuck it, Noah Brown down there somewhere. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you must be living under a goddamn rock. Because ESPN, Sports Center, FS1, Football Night in America, damn near everybody and their mother done posted it to this point. But the Commanders defeated the Chicago Bears 18-15 on a 52-yard Hail Mary from the chosen one, Jayden Daniels, to Noah Brown with zeros on the clock, the final play of the game, to advance to 6-2 and control their own destiny in terms of their playoff fate at the midway point, or almost the near midway point of the season. And I can't be more excited. Like, this is a real NFL team. We're more than playoff contenders. We're Super Bowl contenders. We are fucking Super Bowl contenders. And you know you come to Bleeding BnG for the most raw, uncut, and unfiltered analysis on your Washington Commanders. And I'm sorry, but that's the plainest sight. That's the plainest way that I could put it. We one of the best teams in the NFL. One of the best fucking teams in the NFC. And before I get too far ahead of my skis, let's deal with the game at hand. And you already know we start every episode with the chosen one. With the chosen one, JD5 is alive. I told y'all he was playing since last week. I told y'all that Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, they was pulling the New England Patriots, being coy about his injury. Because I told y'all last week, if that was the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship and we wasn't putting belt to ass to the Carolina Panthers, Jayden Daniels was going to be playing. And I know y'all got a little nervous. I know y'all got a little nervous when y'all saw that he wasn't practicing on Wednesday and Thursday. Newsflash, guys, if you follow the NFL, a lot of guys don't practice on Wednesdays. A lot of guys don't practice on Wednesdays, and they can be healthy. Wednesdays are considered a rest day now, typically, across the NFL. And I ain't going to lie. I got a little more nervous when he didn't practice on Thursday. But if you put all your faith in Bleeding BnG, you should have known that Jayden Daniels was going to be playing today, and he arrived to the moment. I told y'all how cerebral this guy was. You thought he was going to be missing a Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams matchup? You thought he was going to be missing a number 1 versus number 2 matchup? Shitting me. This is a guy that went in with the same game last year with the same rib injury that he sustained at LSU. Like, we got us one. We got us a goddamn dog at the quarterback position. And that's why it was never a doubt in my mind that JD5 was going to be playing today. But if you had to wait till about 3 o'clock today to see that he wasn't officially listed on the inactives, I totally understand it. But I'm here to let y'all know. Let that score fan syndrome go. This is not RG3. This is a whole different breed. This is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And let me give you the rundown as to why. Let me give you a snapshot at what he did today. In the matchup of number 1 versus number 2, Jayden Daniels showed that he's the undisputed best quarterback in the 2024 NFL Draft. I know that it's early, but fuck that. I'm sorry that my man is showing up early. I'm sorry that his development is accelerated more than all these other guys. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Jayden Daniels showed today that he is the undisputed best quarterback in the 2024 NFL Draft. With 326 passing yards, that one Hail Mary touchdown, 52 rushing yards. 52 rushing yards where he's taking ankles looking like goddamn Barry Sanders at the quarterback position. And this is a guy that was clutching his ribs a week ago. Big time players show up in big time moments and make plays in big time games. And I'm here to tell you now, Jayden Daniels is a big time player. If you didn't know. I don't know how you didn't. But if you were skeptical, I think he answered and quieted all the critics after the day. Because no, he wasn't 100%. But guess what? It ain't like Cliff Kingsbury and them tossed out half of the playbook. He said, no, I'm a dog. I'm a competitor. One of my biggest assets is my legs, and I'm going to use those. One of the biggest reasons why I'm better than Caleb Williams is my legs, and I'm going to use those. Even with these busted up ribs. This is what it's like to have a dog at the quarterback position. This is what it feels like. And I've told you before, and I'll say it again. Because today's game is as evident as this point is ever going to be. You're going to always be in a game when you have a guy at the talent level of Jayden Daniels at the quarterback position. And guess what? Today, you needed it to the very last play. And he delivered for you. And he delivered for you. The chosen one. I've had so many people tell me that was luck. If you're not religious, please excuse me for this, but it's what happened. I've had so many people tell me that it was God. Well, guess what? You're going to always have God on your side when you're the chosen one. When you're the chosen one like JD5 is. You're going to always have luck on your side. And when it keeps coming consistently, it turns out that it's not luck. It's what you prepared for. It's what these elite talents do. Like, this is the expected for them. This is the norm for them. And we finally got one of those guys. We finally got one of those guys in Washington at the quarterback position. But moving on from Jayden Daniels, this was a complimentary football win. I know it came down to the last second. And you're going to hear a lot of talk through the national media, through the local media. You're going to hear everybody and their mother talking about the Hail Mary. But we would have won this game if we didn't contribute in all three facets of the game. And that's what we're here at BnG to do, is to give you the context. The most in-depth analysis on your Washington Commanders. Because guess what? The run game was still in effect. In full effect. Over 160 rushing yards. Brian Robinson with 16 carries for 65 yards. Running through motherfuckers' faces. And a lot of his work came in the first half. I didn't see him much in the second half. I don't know if that's due to injury. He missed the Baltimore Ravens game. And he was able to rest in the second half of the Carolina Panthers game, as well as the Cleveland Browns game that he missed prior to the Baltimore game. So I don't know, because we were still in a dogfight in the second half, and it was like we weren't using him as much, and I'm not sure why, because I know he was averaging well over 4 yards a carry in the first half. And I'm not sure how many carries exactly that he got in the second half, but I know it wasn't a lot. And I don't know. I think that Cliff wanted to, he got a little caught up in this quarterback matchup, and he wanted to drag his nuts on not only the Chicago Bears, but show Caleb Williams what he's missing out on. Because if we can remember, the Chicago Bears didn't hire Cliff Kingsbury for the offensive coordinator position. So he wanted to drag his nuts on them guys. And I think he got a little too cute with the playbook, especially when you're going into the second half with a 12-0 lead, I believe we had, or 9-0 lead that we had going into the second half. It was 2 scores. So I would love to see us chew clock Stay ahead of the chains. But when you got a guy like Jayden Daniels at the quarterback position, I totally get why you want to show him off, Cliff. No diddy. I totally get why you want to showcase him, especially in a national, a national televised game, that 425 spot or CBS. It's a reason why this game was flexed, right? Everybody wanted to see Caleb versus Jayden. And if you didn't leave the game today with the conclusion that Jayden Daniels is better, then I don't know what crack rock that you smoking on. But I ain't even gonna tell you to hand me that shit because I don't want that shit. That shit might got some fentanyl in it. If you really believe that Caleb Williams outshot Jayden Daniels today, I think that Adam Rank said that. We know how he feels about the Commander, so I'm not even gonna get too deep into him. No diddy. But Austin Eckler, 7 carries for 52 yards. I know a lot of that came on the final play of the first half when the Chicago Bears were in prevent defense. I think 30 of those yards came in on that rush. His stats are a little skewed. It looks more like 6 rushes for 20 yards. Wasn't as effective as he's been. But the Chicago Bears are a good defense. Like, we got it handed to them. I know they're on like a 13-game streak where they haven't allowed 21 points to their opponent. And that's because their red zone defense is really good. They play elite bend but don't break defense. I know a lot of their counting stats aren't gaudy by any means, but their scoring defensive numbers are pretty elite, to say the least. Getting into the passing game, getting into these pass catchers. Terry McLaurin, 5 receptions for 125 yards. I'm here to say it because I know we don't hate Terry McLaurin over here at Bleeding BnG. But I was questioning if he was an elite number 1 wide receiver. Terry McLaurin has been an elite number 1 wide receiver this year. Terry McLaurin has been a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL this year. Terry McLaurin's that dude. Yeah, and I've always felt like that about Terry McLaurin. And I still would like to give Terry McLaurin a little bit of help going into the trade deadline, but Terry McLaurin's a bad motherfucker. He is an elite number 1 wide receiver. And all of those guys that said that he was going to take off with an elite quarterback, which I thought that he had the capability of doing, because he hasn't had a guy not that ain't even been able to hold Jayden Daniels' jockstrap. Let's be real. The quarterbacks that Terry's been playing with, they ain't been able to hold a candle to Jayden Daniels. But it seems like, those guys that believe that he was going to take that next step and boom with a guy like Jayden Daniels at the quarterback position, he's proven those guys right. And I think he's went off for one of the highest yardage totals any wide receiver has gone against the Chicago Bears this year. Jalen Johnson is probably the best cornerback in the league right now. It's either him or Patrick Surtain, but even he didn't want that smoke. He wasn't lining up with Terry, and Terry made him pay, burning the shit out of number 29. I know everybody giving flack to number 29 for that last play of the game where he was talking shit to us. Yeah, I was one of those fans that he was talking shit to. He was telling us to go home and all that. Well, guess what? He was getting his ass burnt all game. Terry burnt him in the first quarter. Terry burnt the shit out of him in the first quarter. So he was having it rough. And I don't know why. I don't know why Jalen Johnson didn't travel with Terry McLaurin, to be honest. He was talking about he was worried about spanking that ass and all of that other shit. I didn't see it today. I ain't see it today. He didn't answer the bell. And when are all of these cornerbacks going to learn to stop talking shit about my offense? First Cameron Taylor, Brett, now Jalen Johnson. Where are you? Where was Jalen Johnson on that Hail Mary? Where are you? Zach Ertz. I told y'all, Zach Ertz has found a fountain of youth. Zach Ertz thinks this is 2016. 7 receptions for 77 yards. And that Hail Mary wouldn't have been possible without Zach Ertz contesting it. I don't know if he actually got a hand on the ball, but he forced the Chicago Bears to have to put a hand on the ball and do that dumbass tip to Noah Brown. But, hey, it worked out in Washington's favor. I'm so giddy. If you're looking at us on YouTube, you see a smile hasn't left my face yet. Because we don't have these type of moments in Washington as a Redskin commander or a football team fan. And today it finally feels like, even though we're going through an amazing season, it finally feels like today is the official mark that, like, I can say that we've ridded ourselves of that black cow and that Snyder curse is gone because we've never had the ball bounce our way like that under the Dan Snyder. Like we've never. I can't remember one instance where we came out on top in a situation like we did today. But under the new era with Josh Harris, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, and JD5 is alive at quarterback, anything is possible. Anything is possible. And that's why I'm ready to book my tickets for New Orleans in February at this point. Noah Brown, the recipient of the Hail Mary, the GOAT of the game. Got a game ball in the locker room. Made up for it. That Hail Mary was redemption for Noah Brown because Noah Brown had a couple of big drops today, which was surprising to me because Noah Brown has seemed rather sure-handed throughout, the duration of the season. And, prior to the Hail Mary, and one thing that I didn't like about this game is that we dominated all facets of the game. And, the Chicago Bears were about to eke out with a win. And I was about to start, putting the loss or start searching for people that I could put the loss on. And I didn't really want to do that. But Noah Brown would have been one of those guys if it came down to that point. Well, guess what? He redeemed himself on that play. And he gave me everything that I needed and more on that Hail Mary. And today's title of this episode is going to be Raise Hail Mary. It's going to be Raise Hail Mary. Title onto our catchphrase, our hashtag on Raise Hail. Well, we had a Raise Hail Mary that advanced Washington or propelled Washington to 6-2. I'm so lit right now. I'm super excited because, like I said, things like this don't happen for us. They don't. Staying with the pass catches, Ozzie Zaccheaus isn't going to have, a big sighting in the stat book. But he got one of his touchdowns called back. It was a nice, beautiful bubble screen where he tiptoed the sideline from Jayden Daniels. It was about 30 yards. Got called back on an illegal man downfield. And when I say that things don't work in our favor, and I'm not normally blame the refs guy. And some of you guys got on me because I didn't mention the refs a lot in our Baltimore Ravens post-game analysis episode. It's because I didn't think that the refs were the reason that we lost this game. If we lost this game today, I wholeheartedly believe that it would have been the fucking refs' fault. We were battling the Chicago Bears and Vegas today. And New York. We were battling the Chicago Bears, Vegas, and the NFL offices in New York today. And we still got the dub. Because guess what? All of those guys are going to come up short to a JD5 every single time. Every single time. I've never seen so many illegal man downfield penalties in my fucking life. They took away 2 touchdowns from us because I don't know how they reviewed that play for 37 fucking minutes and still come to the conclusion that Zach Ertz didn't catch that ball. We done had them buzz to the NFL offices in New York from Tampa Bay in between plays to get a play that doesn't work out in our advantage. But we done pulled every TV and every camera angle that we can find. And it's clear as day that Zach Ertz's hands are under that ball and he has full possession of that ball in the end zone before Buddy wants to be a fucking tryhard and rip him of the ball after the play, after he's down. And we're still unable to overturn that play. What the fuck are we watching? What are we watching? And that's the type of shit that makes me think that Vegas got some skin in the game. I know the NFL working with FanDuel and DraftKings. We see LeBron commercials every fucking day. That's what made me think that Vegas going to have some skin in the game, refs. And like I said, I've never seen so many illegal man downfield penalties on us. Because the Chicago Bears was running hella screens. Because Caleb Williams can't throw the deep ball to save his fucking life. Shout out to him though. Bowie Bulldogs for life. I don't know how they ain't getting no illegal man downfield on them 37 damn screens that they ran today. But guess what? We won. So I'm going to chalk it up. Sticking with the pass catches. John Bates on his one catch for 20 yards. Trucking dudes. And that's when I knew that the Chicago Bears wasn't in the weight room this week. And then I was reassured when Luke McCaffrey broke a tackle and ran through a motherfucking face. This team is uber physical. And that's why I really think that we're gonna really contend in the cold weather in January and February come playoff time. The offensive line got a little banged up today. Andrew Wiley came out for a couple of plays. Cornelius Lucas came out in the second half and didn't return. And that's when the Bears really turned it up and made their run because there was a clear drop-off. Brandon Coleman was already out with a concussion, so I need all my guys to get healthy, especially at the tackle position. Because like I said, I think that they were creating movement in the run game in the first half. Kind of got to a stalemate in the second half. But, hey, we came out with a win. We came out with a win. And when you got a quarterback, I'm always bring it back to the golden boy, number 5. When you got a quarterback that's breaking ankles and taking jock straps and escaping free rushes like a guy like Jayden Daniels can do, you could deal with a guy like Trent Scott playing the left tackle position. Because I think I could perform some reps better than Trent Scott today. I can't wait to go watch the All-22. Moving on to the defense before we head up out of here. The defense for 3 quarters, they look like the 85 Bears. They look like the 2000 Ravens. Shit was crazy. Caleb Williams had less than 90 yards through 3 quarters. Now, he picked it up in the 4th quarter, but Joe Witt had that boy in hell, in prison in the first 3 quarters, dialing up blitzes and pressures on the young bull. Caleb ain't know what the fuck he was looking at. Now, he was able to get out of a couple of plays, escape a couple of would-be sacks due to his natural athleticism, and it's one of the reasons why we were so high on him at Bleeding BnG coming out of the draft. It's because of some of his off-schedule ability, but that inaccuracy that Caleb Williams possesses right now is real. Buddy couldn't hit the ball side of a barn for about 3 quarters. And I know that Joe Witt had him in hell, but even when he had time in the pocket, he was missing guys left and right. Shit, he threw one ball I thought I could catch. And I'm in row 10. So just to get my little bit of Caleb Williams analysis, the clear second fiddle, second tier quarterback in today's matchup. I think he finished with about 130 yards, so real pedestrian. He did lead what many thought was going to be a game-winning drive, but guess what? Then Jayden Daniels did that. Jayden Daniels did that in about, 20 seconds. Beautiful execution. Going back to the Hail Mary really quickly. I think the biggest play of the game before the Hail Mary, outside of the Hail Mary, is the play right before the Hail Mary. What the fuck kind of defense was the Chicago Bears running to let Terry McLaurin get a free 15 yards and get out of bounds? It's like they trying to get fired. I saw some incompetence when I was watching them at Hard Knocks this offseason, and it reared its ugly head today. But going back to the defense, Quan Martin was a man possessed today. 10 tackles, flying around all over the field. I seen him getting over top of a couple of deep passes, running the alley, making a couple of open field tackles, one-on-one tackles on DeAndre Swift. Bobby Wagner. After week 2, Bobby Wagner has been damn near a Pro Bowl linebacker. I know he had to get a little bit acclimated with things. Gramps Bobby, missing the preseason. I think he used those first 2 games as a preseason. But he seemed to have found the fountain of youth as well. Flying around, 7 tackles. He was talking that shit today. He was talking big shit to the Bears sideline. You can tell that he wanted this game. And you can tell that he's really rejuvenated and invigorated by Jayden Daniels. Hate to always bring it back to him. But you can see him waiting around for Jayden Daniels after the post-game interview. And that just showed me that, like, this is a real team. That culture that Ron Rivera preached, Dan Quinn is putting it on display. And he's doing it quick, fast, and in a hurry. This team loves each other. They play for each other. When one guy goes down, they pick each other up. When one unit isn't performing, the other unit is, picking it up. Because earlier in the season, this looked like this was going to be a team where we were going to win games and shootouts. But guess what? I'll take a 18-15 ugly win with my defense. Kept us in the game for most of it. Frankie Louvu flying around as well. Caleb did make him look foolish on a couple of those would-be sacks, even getting him twice on one play. But, Hey, that's why he's the number one pick. But Frankie Louisville, when you flying in as recklessly as Big Oos, Frankie Louisville does, you gonna miss a couple of them because he flies in there with no motherfucking regard for human life. To close it out, got a 2-game sample size now. I touched on it last week, but I knew it was only one game. I think the pairing of Fedarian Mathis and Johnny Newton might be addition by subtraction where John Allen is concerned. Fedarian Mathis has been held in the run game, and Johnny Newton has been getting upfield in the pass game. I look back at the stat sheet. I didn't see that he had a sack, but I thought that he had one on the first drive, just getting upfield. And yeah, he's starting to show his explosiveness as he get further and removed from those. I think he had a Jones fracture injury on both feet. And yeah, even when the Chicago Bears fumbled on the 1 yard line, he showed a little speed trying to get in the end zone after that fumble recovery. And to close it out, Austin Seibert. Let me get your name right because you're a bad motherfucker. And if it wasn't for Jayden Daniels, you would be the MVP of this team right now. And if the NFL still did wild shit, like give kickers the MVP like they did with our guy, ours truly, Mark Mosley, I think it was in 1983. If they still did that wild ass shit, the Commanders would have 2 MVP candidates in Jayden Daniels and Austin Seibert because Austin Seibert is a bad man. He's a bad man. Even the missed field goal that he had today, I think that the snap was high. We were boots on the ground, so I would love to see it on the TV copy, but it seemed to me as if Tress never had, full control of the ball and never really got it clean on the tee. And that ball never really had a chance from the jump, if we're being 100% honest. But other than that, making every other field goal, the first 4 before that, keeping us in the game without us not scoring a touchdown. And the script followed very similar, eerily similar to the New York Giants game. But guess what? In the Giants game, we didn't have that Hail Mary. And that's why I'm starting to think that this might be our year. This might be our season. This is starting to feel like the momentum that we were building at the end of the 2015 and 2012 season. And I wasn't around in 1991, but if you were around, let me know. Are we bringing 1991 vibes back? That'll do it for this episode of Bleeding BnG. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this win. We 6-2. I hope you guys are enjoying one of the best teams in the NFL. And while they keep being one of the best teams in the NFL, we're going to keep pushing out this elite content for this elite team. As always, if you're not following us on social medias, what are you doing? Go ahead and do that. Follow us on Instagram at BleedingBNG, BleedingBNG, BNG, on X at BleedingBNG, BleedingBNG. So there's only one G in our X handle. If you're listening to us on audio-only platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating, please leave a review. That's how we finesse these algorithms so that when you're searching anything Washington Commanders, Bleeding BNG is that number one content hub that pops up in your search bar. I'm super lit. I need to go take a nap because I almost had a heart attack after that game today. And I am not exaggerating. So I need to go check my blood pressure. I need to go check my heart rate. I'll be in here tomorrow for the reaction video. Make sure you tapped into the page because we got a lot more content coming. I'm about to start doing lives too, so make sure you're on the lookout for that. Peace.